All right, boys, today we're talking training again, and what is important if you don't want to waste your time, waste your effort. So we should talk about time itself, and more specifically, our rest periods in the gym. And I know that might not sound like the sexiest thing to talk about, but it's absolutely critical and a core piece to maximizing your muscle growth, your hypertrophy, your effort in the gym. It's one of the most important things guys tend to overlook. So just how long should you be resting in between sets? Just how important is it that you get this right? So firstly, a good rule of thumb is trying to do any multi-joint movements earlier in the workout. Do the smaller joint stuff later in that workout. So I'm talking about exercises that stress the entire central nervous system the most. The heavy shit. Compound movements like squats, deadlifts, those are obvious. But things like heavy dumbbell rows, dumbbell press, military press, heavy bench press, those are things I would also put in that category. You're going to need a bit more rest time between sets like that. And that's not rocket science. You'll probably notice if you're training hard, you're going to feel a lot more gassed after a heavy set of dumbbell press than you would with something like a heavy set of bicep curls. So if it's taxing the entire body, the entire nervous system, you need more rest. And I see way too many guys going into the gym, doing their training like they're trying to burn fat, like they're trying to burn calories. They're trying to get a sweat going, a pump going. Your weight training isn't about maximizing caloric burn. It's not about getting a pump. Yes, more fat loss and better body composition is the long-term effect of training effectively, but that's only if you're packing on some real lean muscle gains. Therefore, training your hypertrophy, aka muscle building, that is the goal. You're there to build muscle, breaking it down so we can build back stronger. It's not about burning calories and trying to lose weight from working up a sweat. That's not the intention of your workouts. So all just to say, your time in the gym training is about building. It's not about reducing. We're there to build muscle. We're not there to burn calories. And training with a ton of supersets and drop sets and running around the gym like you're on some training circuit, taking 30 or 60 seconds between sets to rest, it's not going to stimulate the muscle growth the way you want. Those are essentially just pump workouts that are probably better for cardiovascular health than they are for anything else. And there's a lot of studies out there clearly showing this, that those styles of workouts, they might make you feel good, but they don't do much for actual growth. Because there's a lot of guys out there going for this workout where they feel like they had a stellar workout because they worked up a good sweat, they got a good pump. But again, it's not doing anything for actual muscle growth. If you're lifting heavy enough, you're going close to failure a lot of the time. Guys who rest 1 minute per set see far crappier results compared to the guys who are resting 3 minutes between sets. And there's a ton of studies out there that show this. It's not really up for debate. And that's because when you do a set, you deplete metabolites in your system. And a few things happen. First, your central nervous system is stressed, and it takes at least 2 to 3 minutes to recover. If it's a bicep curl, you might be able to get away with 90 seconds or 2 minutes. But if it's a heavy squat that you're going to failure with, you better believe you're going to need 3, 4, even 5 minutes before your body is ready for another set where you can actually perform. So it is slightly different for different body parts. The next thing is acid accumulation. We used to think it was lactic acid buildup. You've probably heard your gym teacher say that. It's actually hydrogen ion buildup and your inability to process those out. So long story short, you're going to get acid buildup after heavy sets, and that buildup takes a little bit of time for your body to dissipate. And you don't want to be choking off oxygen from the muscles you're trying to feed. So you need sufficient time before you can hit another set with sufficient load and get the most out of that set. You might remember from other videos I've done, mechanical tension is the key driver for muscle growth. Rest times are fully in your control. So you don't want the limiting factor to your shitty results to be from the fact that you're just simply rushing through sets, not resting long enough. If you're training hard enough to create breakdown, which I hope you are, a little bit too much rest in between sets is still a lot better than not enough rest. You need time to clear that acid buildup. A basic rule of thumb, it obviously changes muscle to muscle, but a minimum of 2 minutes between most sets and 3 minutes minimum between compound lifts where you're going close to failure, things like squats, deadlifts, anything where you might need a spot, you should need about 3 minutes to recover properly. Dorian Yates, the 7-time Mr. Olympia monster, he used to say he'd often only do 5-6 sets total in a workout. And when people ask why, he'd say, I train so fucking hard, it would take me 4 minutes to remember my name after the heavy sets. I needed that time to recover. Although Dorian's super low volume style of training was extreme, I've done a ton of high volume, low rest, and I've done a lot of lower volume with plenty of rest style of training, and the results aren't even close. Less exercises, less sets, say 8 to 10 for a muscle group, training that muscle group 2 times per week, it's superior by a country mile when compared to absolutely roasting a single muscle group for 20 or 25 sets, then waiting a full week to train it again. You need to be pushing yourself, training close to failure often if you want to grow long term. And we need to have 2 to 3 minutes minimum rest time to recover enough to make that next set truly effective. If you're fully rested and you can do another set within 45 seconds, you're not training hard enough and you're not going anywhere close to true failure. I think something I run into with a lot of pro athlete clients, hockey players, fighters, guys used to competing, it's really hard for them to adjust and adhere to this style of weight training because they're so used to moving fast, looking at everything in terms of efficiency so they can get through a training the fastest, most efficient way. So they're usually trying to improve their cardio and their performance for their sport, but that's not how you build a ton of new muscle and build a better metabolism. Your training stimulus has nothing to do with your performance in a sport. And you'll see guys in the gym doing these Bosu ball squats, or they're doing 10 sets of drop sets and supersets, flying through the workout like a madman. And that stuff might get your heart racing, might get your muscles pumping. It might even make you a better athlete. It's all shit and completely useless from a getting jacked hypertrophy standpoint. Now, does that mean that I hate on supersets and drop sets? Absolutely not. They have a time, they have a place, but you got to know when to use them properly. For guys who are really busy, one of the things that I like to utilize is supersets, but when we're doing those supersets, meaning one exercise right after another, no rest, we don't do an exercise that hits the same muscle. Rather, what we want to do is use antagonistic body parts, so opposing body parts. This might look like doing some chest press followed by a superset of bicep curls, completely antagonistic body parts. Because truth is, most guys plateau in the gym way faster than they should. It's kind of sad. And I see guys every single week who are 3, 5, 10 years into training, and they haven't changed a damn bit in years. They're essentially just wasting so much time that they could be using, grow, and get stronger and improve. And it's really a matter of all these little details adding up. This stuff isn't rocket science, but it is science. And there's a science to getting jacked. There's a science to breaking through plateaus. You need to be sufficiently loading the muscle to create enough stress to force muscle breakdown, to force adaptation. And that's how you progress over time. And you need to understand rest periods and how important they are to do that effectively. Because honestly, I trained like a meathead for over 10 years, just annihilating a muscle group with 20, 30, even 40 sets sometimes, an hour, 2 hour, Monday chest day, bro science bullshit. Before I learned this stuff, the science of how to build muscle, and now I spend half the time in the gym and get twice the results. Now, am I saying you can't get any results from training that way? No, you'll get something, especially if you're just starting out, but you can get kind of jacked on accident, just working your tail off, eating like a horse, maybe putting some vitamin S in your bum. But to get truly jacked in the most sustainable way to break through plateaus, to get to a level that most guys never get to, you got to work a little smarter. Nowadays, I'm a big fan of hitting all muscle groups at least twice per week. And that means I'm still doing the 20, 25 sets per workout maybe, but only 8 to 10 might be chest. Then I switch and do another 8 to 10 of triceps or shoulders. Get in, get out, then 3-ish days later, I'm usually hit those muscles again. And this approach is superior to the outdated bro splits when you just obliterate a single muscle and then don't train it for another week. And it's not even close, you guys. More is not always better. There's a better way to do it. Long term, more muscle equals better health in every measurable way. You get much better insulin sensitivity, meaning you can handle more carbs, putting those carbs to good use rather than your body wanting to store them as fat. More muscle equals a healthier metabolic rate, aka you burn more calories by simply existing, aka you can eat more, stress less, enjoy life a hell of a lot more without having to be worried about calories all the time. And I see way too many guys, they start these fitness programs, these diets, and the first thing they do is they work out way more than they're used to. They reduce calories. They start doing way too much traditional hardcore cardio. They're training the wrong way. They're not focused on hypertrophy. They're just focused on working up a sweat, getting a pump, these circuit style training that feel hard, and they release some feel good endorphins. You get that pump, you get that sweat, you feel good, but they do very little for actually increasing lean muscle mass long term. And these guys usually lose a bunch of weight, but that weight isn't mainly fat and the ratio is broken. You just get to the end of that fitness program looking a little lighter, the scale's a little lighter, but you look skinny fat. You look in the mirror, you look nothing like what you thought you would look like at your goal weight. You're just, you got this skinny fat dad bod, and I don't care what anyone tells you, those bods aren't in. All just to say, take your rest periods serious. If you're working hard, 2 to 3 minutes, you should need that time. And honestly, you know, if you're losing weight in the gym and you're not building muscle and you simply have too much, the ratio of fat to muscle is all off, you're hurting yourself metabolically, not helping. And you're going to end up in a place where you might hit your goal weight, but you look nothing like what you thought you're going to look like at that goal weight. So this stuff's important. If you guys have questions, let me know. Let me know what your questions on training might be. I can cover it in another video. Take care, guys. We'll talk to you soon.